Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where three guys come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I am joined by X-Man.
Hey, everybody.
And Stoney.
Hello.
So, okay.
How's it going, guys?
I feel a little rusty. I feel like it's the new year, and I still haven't fully, gotten
Is anybody
into
still putting 2021?
I did one time. I was typing up a video, and I was like, 2021. I mean, 2.
Stoney, that's when people used to write. We all type now. So.
Okay, is anybody typing 2021?
Right. But anyway, I still haven't
back in my day when we used the hammer and chisel, it's in there for posterity.
You just have to you have to add a curl and a line to the bottom to make it
all those zeros.
Right. Oh man. Yeah. But anyways, like I said, I haven't really gotten into my new rhythm yet. I'm still trying to it feels like since the holidays, I still haven't gotten back on my feet really. Mm-hmm. So, but
somebody needs to get you to work.
Oh man, are you telling me?
Do millennials actually work?
Well, occasionally.
Wake up by 10, roll in by 10:30.
And yet they all think that they're your boss.
Yeah.
I'm being personally attacked and I don't like it.
Do it without them.
Right. Anyways, you said you have a very good question, or you
like to promote your other podcast on ours.
Boy, unapologetically into the max.
No, hold that. Wait a minute.
I saw this movie a couple weeks ago that you have got to see.
Okay.
And I think I would like to lead it into maybe a subject for our conversation today.
All right.
And I know X-Man probably remembers this movie.
Yeah.
But it's called A Boy and His Dog.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that, Ian?
I have not.
You need to watch that and do your podcast, one of your next podcasts on A Boy and His Dog.
Okay.
So, having said that movie, this boy and his dog are in this apocalyptic type world, and it's their life and journey together, even when they meet a girl. And then the end scene, you see the boy and the dog walking away.
It's basically it's basically the story of your life right now,
yeah.
Ian.
Oh, yikes. Whoa.
An apocalyptic world.
Yeah, there you go.
With a girlfriend.
Right.
But apparently this dog was very important to him, obviously more important than a girl, because they must have ate her. And
things to not get Ian right now. A dog.
Please no.
What about pets? Have y'all had some cool pets in your life?
Oh, I love pets. So, my first experience with pets was, I had a white cat named Snowball.
Yeah.
And I loved that cat, but what I really loved is when my mom decided that we were going to raise basset hounds in the backyard.
Oh, wow.
And not just any basset hounds, like championship basset hounds. So they invested some real dollars into a very good dog and a very, very good stud. And they ended up breeding her, and she pumped out 10 puppies in her first litter.
Oh, good Lord.
And they sold for a lot.
Holy cow.
I mean, a lot. They were like $600 or $700 back then. That was a lot of money.
Oh, of course.
And so, we got to raise these dogs.
That's about $6,000 or $7,000 in today's money.
Well, let me tell you, you're so rude.
No, I'm just kidding. No.
Remind me to take him out.
Right.
Okay? So, but I loved those dogs so much. I loved them way more than anybody else did. I loved those dogs so much that one time when I got in trouble, I cut my screen on my bedroom window and got out in the middle of the night and went and slept in the dog house with my dog because I couldn't stand being away from them. I mean, I loved them. So I'm a pet lover, man.
That's awesome.
Pet lover.
I am too. I remember when I was younger, my best friend at the time, Ed, we had to walk to each other's house. It was probably 4 or 5 miles.
What was Ed?
It was just a mutt. It was a dog. It was a mutt. And one day...
A dog named Ed?
No, my best friend's name was Ed, and we were walking back and forth, and the dog started following us.
Ed?
Nice.
No.
I'm so confused.
You've been confused since I met you. I'm walking back and forth to my friend's house, and this dog starts following me.
So your friend is not Ed?
No, his friend is Ed.
Oh my God!
Yes.
But what's the dog's name?
So there's a human.
I'm getting to the dog.
There is
in
a
minute.
human named Ed, and it is Stoney's friend, and he was walking to his house.
Good Lord!
And then surprise comes a dog.
So you think you're Rusty? I can't even make sense out of what this guy's saying.
Lord Jesus have mercy.
Man.
So
That's great.
coming back from my friend Ed's house,
Yes.
a dog starts to follow me.
Right.
And it's just this mutt.
Right.
Just a mutt.
Right.
And I'm like, Mom, Dad, can we keep it? And they're like, no, it's somebody's dog. Come on, can we keep it? Nope, it's somebody's dog. So they said, I'll tell you what, if you go around the neighborhood and knock on everybody's door and see who lost their dog, and nobody says yes, you can keep the dog. Well, do y'all think I knocked on anybody's door?
No, of course
I didn't knock on anybody's door.
Yeah.
So we kept the dog and we named the dog Moose.
Nice.
And that
A dog named Moose.
Dog named Moose. Don't know where that
That's
came
not
from.
much better than Ed.
I mean, hey.
But that dog was it was my companion.
Right.
It just everything. And we went through my dad was a dick, and he had all the neighbors pissed off. They set the dog on fire one time and burned all his hair off of him. And yeah, but that dog loved me. I loved that dog. He was
Who set the dog on fire?
One of the neighbors.
Why, dude?
They set your dog on fire?
Yeah, we think it's John. I'm not going to say his last name, but he was kind of, our houses were on kind of half and half, so it was the right-hand diagonal side. Yeah.
I'm convinced that people like that get the same thing after we leave here.
I hope so.
You know,
I
like
hope
seriously.
so.
The devil's just down there just like lighting him on fire and going, hi, sucker, you got it.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to get here.
But,
man.
But that dog was amazing. That was the first dog I had. We
That's
had a
awesome.
cat, but at the time, I wasn't a cat person.
Yeah.
But that dog kind of put me on the path of just loving animals.
I don't know why I feel so relieved that his dog wasn't named Ed.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it was named Moose, which is equally strange, but I'm just thankful.
I had a friend that had her mom had a dog named Steve, and it was very apt. He just looked like a Steve. I mean, it was just funny because every time she'd go like, "Come on, Steve, let's go," and that you're like, "Yeah, I mean, it fits." You know?
Remember Scuba Steve in the Adam Sandler movie?
Oh man, it's funny.
All right, yeah. I don't think I've ever had any kind of dog with like that human. Well, maybe, yeah, because one of my dogs, actually. One of the dogs out of that litter we kept, and it was a boy, and we named him Sir George. And the reason why we got to that name was my mom used to take the racing paper for the horse races, and she would let me name the dogs out of the horse racing paper. And so I had Renita Contessa de Savoy one time.
Hold on. I got a Sir. I got this friend of mine owns a Savannah Rescue. Yeah. And Savannahs are these huge cats. They can go up to $25,000 a piece.
Whoa.
And I love exotic animals.
Right.
And so she called me up and she says,
That explains Hottie Doctor.
Yes.
There you go.
And so she calls me up and says, hey, I have this baby cat and I need somebody to tend to it.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, all right, I'll help you
Little
until somebody
do you know.
finds it. Well, I didn't want to get rid of the cat after a couple of months.
Right.
But I named him Caballada Mucha Caca.
That's something about pooping. I know enough
Sir
Spanish.
shits a lot.
Yeah.
So we called him Poops, but his name was Sir Shits a lot.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Oh,
This
that's
cat,
amazing.
when he took a dump,
Oh, please.
and he eventually learned how he learned how to use a toilet.
Oh,
I could
no
never
way.
get him to flush it, but he would use the toilet. I would walk in needing the bathroom and he'd be sitting on it going, "Excuse me, some privacy," you know. But he could never flush it. But he would use the bathroom.
That is so. I also had a cat that could flush the toilet. His name was Dagwood, and he was a half Siamese, half Persian cat. And the lady who he belonged to moved out of the country and asked if we would keep the cat. And I begged my mom, and she finally agreed to it. It ended up being her cat. Like it would stay in her room.
course.
It would stay, and that cat would not drink from its water bowl. It would only go and drink from her bathroom sink.
Oh, wow.
And it had to be on. Like you had to turn the water on, let the cat drink, and turn it off. So it was crazy.
That is
really
crazy.
Well, Poops was an amazing animal. He was the Savannah.
He sounds
cats
amazing.
Are more like dogs than they are cats. You know, a cat is indifferent. You serve a cat,
Right.
You know, you at its beck and call. But the Savannah cats are more like dogs. You walk on a leash.
Wow.
You know, it just was an amazing animal, and he had to be right next to you. It was more like a lap dog than anything. Wow. And I mean, they stand up, you know, 20 something inches at the shoulder when they're just standing on all fours. You know, when he jumped up on me, he could put his paws on my chest and shoulders. He was huge.
And you know, they say that pets say something about their owners.
Right.
You know, Sir poops a lot.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Right. There you go. I mean, well,
you ain't that rusty, are you?
I think I had a dog when I was like a kid, but I don't really remember that very, very much. But the first like pet that I remember like going to get, it was it was one of those situations where we went to like the kennel or whatever, and there was like a bunch of dogs, but there was one in particular that like was drawn to the family, but more me than the other two boys, my younger brothers. And he was it was a young puppy, and he was not a miniature, but like a mid-sized Dachshund. And so he wasn't like one of those like really big, hefty guys. He was right in the middle, but he was still little. And he had like this like kind of like amber, like red kind of like fur. And man, he was a Spitfire. And I loved that dog. And I had that dog for his entire life, really, and for almost, I think, like 14 years or 15 years before he passed. But like I said, that was the family dog. But just like you were saying before with the other one, like that dog was like my dog. I took care of it. And it kind of was like very loyal to me. There was a lot of times where like I had it trained pretty well, where he was a barker. He would always bark before he would bite, really. But a lot of times, like if I was uneasy about something, he was one of those dogs that could feel it. And he would, like, if I didn't like the person or if there was a weird situation in the air, like he would go quiet. And like it was so interesting to like the dynamic of like there was certain kids that like, because my mom also like ran a homeschool out of the house, so a lot of times we would have like at the peak of like my schooling there, at some point there was like probably 25-ish kids or something like that, or maybe almost 30 that were like kind of around our house or whatever. And like there was some kids I just wasn't really a big fan of, or like they were kind of bullies, or they were just those kind of kids or whatever. And like there was always like those kids that would either like kind of pick on the dog or would try to pick on me. And like he would just, I mean, he was the epitome of an ankle biter, because that's, I mean, but like, but I'm telling you what, he would defend me till his dying breath. I believed it. And I love that dog so much.
So that's a beautiful story, and I love stories like that, because we you know, I just think pets are amazing. But have you ever had one that you just hated, like you couldn't stand that pet?
No.
Never?
Oh, dude. No. I had one.
Uh-oh. Sounds like the wolf has something.
Dude, okay. So, again, for all those drinking out there,
when you were in Canada.
When I lived in Canada.
I mean, you realize this man has a pet name, right?
Yeah.
Wolf, right?
I actually had a wolf.
Oh.
I had a wolf for almost 6 years.
Okay, I want to come back to that and hear that story.
100% wolf.
So cool.
Yep.
Anyway,
a wolf would be Caleb's dream
I told
pet.
you I liked exotic animals.
I love it. I lived in an apartment that had a cockatiel. Ooh. And that bird was, I know dogs, I know cats a little bit, like the personality trait, like all dogs are different, obviously, but you can kind of understand generally what you're getting yourself into.
But which one is the cockatiel? I know there's like a parakeet, and then there's a bigger one that's kind of
right.
like
it's the one in between the parakeet and the parrot.
Oh yeah,
he was about. So it's colorful.
It's colorful.
He was about yay big, sitting in your hand.
Yeah.
He was like just big
usually
enough,
kind of gray and yellow or something like that.
Yeah, kind of something like that. To his owner was very sweet and loving, but to like outsiders, because I think he was a male bird, and I'm not sure if he knew this or not, but she was a female like person, obviously. So I think that was kind of the strange like territorialness of it, maybe, I don't know, but like it was so strange. Like I said, generally you can understand, even with like kind of like a dog you may not know very well, like you still can understand like generally how dogs work, where you can keep your distance, or like work around them a little bit if they're like skittish or whatever. once you put wings on something that's like skittish and jumpy, it makes it so much worse. And so like there was like moments whenever like I would come home from work and like there was one time in particular where like the bird just came swooping in and like
he crapped on your head.
No, got tangled in my hair and tried to bite my eyebrow, and not like a light like oh, we're just playing around, like almost like cut my eyebrow pretty bad.
Oh man.
And I was like, and the person that I'm talking about loved this bird very much, and I did not want to hurt this bird, obviously. But obviously, whenever you're getting attacked, you're like, you know,
it's like Alfred Hitchcock.
And so there was one point in time,
the tropical version.
There was one point in time, like whenever that happened, that like I had hit the bird, and of course it like got its balance and flew away, but I got in trouble for hitting the bird, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm bleeding. You know, like, but there was another time where like, again, it was on my shoulder and being nice and like, you know, nestling, having a fun time, and then all of a sudden just out of nowhere like got aggressive and like bit my ear, and again, not light, and I'm like, and I almost threw it across the room.
We had 2 cockatiels as a kid, and I didn't like them. Just that smell. You know, they're always chirping. They're moody.
Oh, right,
you know,
right.
And
I don't remember it because like my grandmother was, you know, she died before I was born, but my mom used to tell me a story about her having one of those, and it would come and it would sit on her teacup. How nice. And it would just sit there, and she said that it would whistle, and then it would say, "I'm a pretty boy."
Nice.
So I thought that was an interesting thing to have a bird that talks.
I didn't like, and again, the bird was intelligent too. So like it could do like certain things, or like it would, like I said, it could understand like certain things you would say or whatever. It was more intelligent like some dogs think are. But like the thing I hated about it was the fact that like I couldn't hurt the bird because again, obviously it was very near and dear to this other person's heart, and I didn't want to hurt their pet, but at the same time I hated like going into like a place that I lived at and like being scared like of this animal that I couldn't like, you know, discipline in some way. Where I was like,
he's secretly, you know, dreaming about deep frying it in some batter, you know, like, but that's hysterical. Right. I you know, that does definitely have to be awful to walk in your own house and be attacked.
I was like, oh please! I was on edge a lot of times because like, oh, is the bird gonna be nice today? I was like, I just hate it.
I don't want a pet that's gonna repeat the stuff I'm saying either. I'm sorry. I want some privacy. You know,
right. Or the sounds you make.
Right. You already got Big Brother watching us on our cell phones. You know, like I don't need another source of irritation. But I tell you what, I had a pet that I loved the pet, but the pet only loved me, just like what you were talking about with your friend, and it was our first dog, Wrigley. And my wife had been diagnosed with cancer. She had skin cancer, it was melanoma, and we were going through that. And I just thought, you know what, things had gotten pretty serious at home. The kids were, you know, old enough to start feeling the impacts of that.
Yeah.
I went and I got this dog thinking this dog will be great. It'd be great for the kids. It'd be great for her.
Yeah.
She can have something that she can care for and get her mind off of, you know, all this other stuff she's going through. And so my intentions were good. But we get this dog home and she loved it. Cute. We named it Wrigley. Everything was going good. Everything. But the dog would bite them in the butt. The dog would bite all of them in the butt, but not me. So I loved the dog.
Right. And everyone else hated it.
Everyone else hated the dog. It was too much for the little kids too. Right. And she's like, of course, my wife is furious. And she's like, I'm not going to have a dog that's, and why did you bring that thing in the house? And this is after she had already profusely thanked me and told me how great the dog was and how much she loved. And so anyway, and so I ended up making that whole situation even worse, and I was miserable. So I loved that dog, and honestly, there were moments where I thought it might be the one that got to remain. But but I actually ended up keeping the kids and the wife, and
there you go.
Of the hardest day of my life though was having to load that dog in the car and take him to be rehomed. I was so sad. And it was something that I had to do alone.
Right.
I will just admit to you, I cried on the way because I was like, you know, I felt like a failure. I mean, it was terrible. So that whole experience was awful. So when the kids and my wife wanted another one, I was like, absolutely not. I mean, no way. Not only no, but hell no. Like, I am not going down that road again because I am scarred. So I didn't let them have a dog until 1 year ago, a Christmas 1 year ago. And and then on top of that, as I've gotten older, I've become allergic to everything. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, no.
And dog is one of them.
Mine is cat.
Yeah.
Mine just a little bit. It developed as I got in like my 20s. I realized I was like, my eyes are on fire. Yeah. And like I'm sniffling a lot around cats. And
so
I was like,
cats will break me out. Like,
really?
I mean, my nose puffs up, my eyes get red.
Really?
So I'm the same way with cats, but dogs too, unfortunately. So my wife goes and spends $2,000 on this bougie dog that I absolutely love.
Oh, of course.
And now we have this amazing dog. He's a golden doodle.
Nice.
And he is bougie as all get out. He is, I mean, his life. I want his life.
Oh,
I'm totally jealous of his life.
Right.
And so he's really bonded with her, but he knows that I'm the alpha in our house. And so that dog sleeps at my feet. The dog is
nice.
But the dog is amazing. So now we've got this really good dog experience. His name is Jagger. And he's a really, really cool dog.
I don't think I ever said it, but the little Dotson I was named Rascal. So obviously, so you can imagine with a dog named Rascal, who's also like, Dotsons were bred for hunting badgers. You can imagine every squirrel in the neighborhood was scared of my dog, so you can imagine.
You know what I really want as a pet, though? I want a raccoon.
Oh no, please.
I know everybody tells me no, but I want one. They're so cute.
Right. That's like having a fox almost as a pet.
I want a raccoon. If Stoney can have a wolf, I want a raccoon.
Well,
knock yourself out.
I mean, hey.
So what was your wolf experience? I want to hear about that.
Right.
I wanted to say something first because Hottie Doctor and I, we've been together over a year, and she keeps teasing me because I like big exotic animals.
Right.
So she shows me a picture of a Brindle Bull Mastiff.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, geez.
And
dude.
I am in love.
That's like getting an SUV.
Oh, dude.
Yes, please.
Right.
I want this animal. I want
That's a small horse for a pet. Yeah.
Just so I started researching them, and they're just these amazing animals, and I'm like, yes,
please,
yes, I could do this. I want to do this.
Right.
I really want to do this.
Where are you going to sleep, though?
Right. She doesn't allow pets in the bed. So.
Oh, okay. And yet, there you are.
Yeah. Whoa.
Wow.
That explains why he sleeps on the sofa.
That's why I'm sitting here, and I'm like, I really want this dog, and so I get in this dog fever, And then so one day I says, okay, look, let's do it. I really want, no, it's too big for this house. I went, what?
Right.
I said, wait, you done got me built up to this.
Right. You can't just leave me hanging.
No, we're going to get something a little bit smaller. So we're out there, and she says she finds this one dog. And I'm like, really? Here you tease me with, 160 pounds of, monster dog,
muscle,
and I'm like all excited, and you found this little yappy dog. Well, she didn't like it. So then we found this other dog, and we go pick it up, and we met at a place that has Rio in the name of the restaurant. So we named it Rio after the Rio incident. And so we get this dog, and we choose, she said, you hold the dog, I'll drive on the way home. Right. So I have this picture of this little teeny tiny puppy, sitting on my chest, and this dog will calm down only to me.
Wow.
Everybody else, she calls it a land piranha. Comes flying out of nowhere, just and the way it pulls its gums back and its teeth. Wow. And I'll pick it up and go, okay, he's out.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
He's out. And so after that, but he will just. He'll only calm down for me.
Wow.
Now we've had him for a little bit, and he's starting to come down a little bit.
Right.
But, I mean, he's still a puppy.
Speaking of big dogs, I had a friend that used to foster greyhounds, like full-size greyhounds. Wow. Whoa. We want to talk about some big dogs, too. Probably not as big as that, but, tall. I've never really seen, I've only seen, the little bitty ones. I forgot what they're called. The little bitty greyhounds. But seeing a big full-size greyhound in person, and it coming around the corner and me not really knowing it's there, I was like, whoa, that's a big old dog.
Yeah.
So Rio is called, I think it's a rat terrier or a feist.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to be kind of a small to a medium dog.
Yeah.
But that little sucker is fast.
Wow.
I mean,
Interesting.
fast. He can get from one side of the yard to the other before you can even blink.
Is that a herding dog or what is that?
Well, they were designed to cull a rat population. They are. You don't want to
they
see.
flesh out.
Yes, you don't want to see him grab something and shake it to try to kill it.
Oh no.
Because it's dead.
It's dead.
And
It's been dead.
Snakes, rats. You got a bird. And he's
on it.
fast.
Yeah.
And he does that death shake with his head. It's done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah. He's fast.
Worst dog experience. Let me tell you. There's nothing worse than a bad dog than two bad dogs.
Oh no.
And so
We got the pack mentality going on.
I got this dog, and I loved this dog. I named her Nika. She was a what was that breed? Anyway, I had her, and I had her for several spaniels, cocker spaniels.
Oh, okay.
Stink. Oh my God, that dog was always smelly ears, and their hair and it gets long, and their ears get all messed up. So anyway, I had this dog for a while, and then I've met somebody, and they were going to put their other cocker spaniel up for adoption, and I was like, I can't let you do that. I'm gonna take that dog too.
Yeah.
So I put them together. The most hellish night of my life ensued after that. I woke up and I felt something really moist and gooey between my toes. The dog had shit on my foot, while I was sleeping. So I have crap in my foot. I get up and I hear this.
No, please. I didn't need the Foley work.
So I get up and I look and I see in the silhouette of just the dim lighting that I have a trail of piles that are going from one room into the next room. And it just looks like plop, 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 So one dog is going through the house puking while the other dog is going behind it and eating it.
No, stop it.
I am so grossed out. I start gagging.
Oh,
so I get about two of these piles and my foot cleaned up when I'm in the bathroom going, blah, blah, because I'm so gross. Grossest, most hellish night of my life.
If there's anybody eating while listening to this podcast, I'm sorry. I was going to say I'm sorry.
Let me tell you, it was the grossest night of my life. And
so your honeymoon was the second grossest night of your life.
Stop it.
You suck, man. Actually, I'll have you know, my honeymoon was hot, but we did have a frog in the hot tub. I knew. I'll a story for a later day. But
he paused for just a half a second, and I got scared. It was like a frog and what now? Wait a minute.
Yeah. So this hellish. Honestly,
no, please. No,
we've been actually very lucky with Rio because we crate trained him. We've only had like 2 accidents since we've had him. He knows when.
Has the dog ever had any accidents? Oh, you weren't talking about you, a naughty doctor. Well, you're older, I just thought maybe.
Oh man, Jesus!
Man. But, we've had a lot of success with him, training him and getting where he needs to be, and it's a really good experience. But the wolf, I've had a couple of exotic animals. I had a 15+ foot Burmese python.
Never
had its own room.
I believe
Absolutely
it.
Not.
I mean, 15 foot
room. And I tell you what, the best neck massage in the planet is to let a snake like that go up your neck and come down the other side.
What is wrong with you?
I bet he weighed all of 70, 80 pounds?
No, he was hundreds of pounds.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he was hundreds of pounds.
Ew.
But the wolf.
A 15-foot snake?
Yeah.
You lived with it?
His name was Thor.
What did it eat, for crying out loud?
A whole rat, I bet.
What do you feed a 15-foot snake?
Lambs, goats.
I was going to say, it had to be bigger than a rat.
Yeah.
Ew. Well, you know what? I hear they love Nutras or whatever.
You mean like beavers or whatever?
Pig rats or whatever they are.
Yeah. No, he was actually really cool. I got in this phase with a friend of mine, and we bred pythons and stuff like that, and you can make some good money at it.
I'm probably going to get hate mail, but how do you develop a loving relationship with your Burmese python?
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
they're not really bad animals.
I just want to hear it. What about it is attractive?
They're just really cool animals.
Oh, here's a big ass snake. I mean,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's kind of
it's just awesome. It's really cool.
I mean, we're talking about Stoney here. So I mean, anything,
people out, number one.
He wants a Oh, you said a mastiff?
Yeah.
He wants a big old mastiff.
So what do you do? Like sit there and watch it digest its food or something? Like
watching it eat's pretty cool now.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew he was
squishing the life right out of it.
Seriously, this guy is all about death. I mean, yes, no, I'm serious. He is. He'll tell you that, right?
No, I'm not saying nothing. I just
whatever.
Said it's fun to watch it eat.
He likes the life being squeezed out of other living.
He doesn't want any blackmail, is what it is.
No, yeah. I had a friend of mine said, "Hey, man, I found this little puppy. I don't want it." He said, "Do you want it?" I'm like, "Well, I'm without a pet right now. Sure." And so after about a year, I would take it to the vet and stuff, and we kept looking at it, like, man, that just doesn't look like a normal dog. Maybe it's got some German Shepherd in it. Maybe it's got some of this in it. And so finally we had to do some DNA tests, and it was 100% timber wolf.
So did you have to start feeding it meat and stuff, or what? Like, what do you feed a wolf?
Well, I did feed it meat anyway, because I believe dogs should eat meat and bones and vegetables and things like that. So I've always treated my animals really, really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it got kind of crazy. But that was the most loyal animal on the planet.
Wow.
The city that I lived in back in the 80s, I owned partial apartments with a friend of mine, and I lived there helping manage the place, and it would sit out on the front porch.
Oh, wow.
And it knew who lived in the complex, and it knew who didn't belong there.
Damn.
And one day,
that's gotta be scary.
Not really.
No. I mean, really. Talk about it for someone who doesn't live there.
I mean, most of the girls like.
Of course.
The wolves, they would come and love on it and feed it.
Which I'm sure that didn't bother you at all.
No, not at all. I was single back then. And,
that's actually a thing, Yeah.
But one day I heard this screaming and hollering. And I went out there, and Coco was the name of the wolf. Go figure. I got nothing.
Hey.
Sitting there with a piece of meat in its mouth.
Nice.
And somebody from outside, the little complex there, had walked in, and I didn't know why, but somebody walked in and kicked Coco in the face.
No.
And turned around. And wolves, their front teeth are not made for chewing, but ripping flesh.
Damn.
And reached up in one swipe, took the butt cheek right off.
Ouch.
Oh, shit. We have to call the police. We have to get the other people involved. I'm thinking they're gonna shoot me. Back then, you just shot a dog like that.
Yeah.
Right. And all of a sudden, these two girls that were law students, at the school that we were right outside of, the college we were right outside of, they I guess they had taken their time to put their business suits on. Hair.
Got ready for it.
They got ready. They walked out and said, "We saw the whole thing."
Damn.
And this was a person from an organization, a government organization. I'm just going to leave it like that.
Right.
They saw this person walk up and kick the dog for no reason.
Stop it, dude.
No reason. And so the dog, they deemed it, it was defending itself.
Right. Hey.
And they took the butt cheek and they took the person.
Pick your ass up and get out of here.
Yes. Pick your ass up and get out of here.
Wow.
Walk in shame.
They said, we will, if you pursue this, that dog loves us. That dog protects us.
Wow,
we will sue you. We will get every law student we have access to, and we will bury you.
Who has the gall
to
look at a fully grown ass wolf and kick it?
Now, this wolf wasn't aggressive unless it knew it had to be.
Right.
Of course.
It would just lay there. You could come love on it. My tenants would just
That's crazy.
Just treat it so
Did you say don't let the door hit you in the ass you don't have anymore?
It's more like don't let the door hit your I'm sorry, you don't have an ass anymore.
Yeah, right. So I have to tell you, my grandfather also treated his dogs very well. Like I mean, these dogs, if I wanted to be a dog, that's who I would choose. I would choose my grandfather.
Right.
He was a country boy, as country as you could get. He was a pastor. This guy was country. He had a garden and a tractor and everything,
all that stuff.
The whole 9 yards. But he had Dachshunds, like you were talking about. He had Shepherds. He had a Chow with a purple or blue tongue.
Oh, yeah.
He had all kinds of different dogs. I remember growing up, I would spend summers out there. And they were those country dogs that would chase your car when you pulled down the driveway. They were right behind you, nipping at your heels, or if you were pulling off. And but I remember distinctly one of my favorite things about being at my grandfather's house is that he would get his cast iron skillet out in the morning and he would cook like a breakfast for a king. Man. I mean, he would make hash browns and eggs and bacon and sausage
all for the dog.
And all these things. And those dogs ate the very same meal that we ate. Mm-hmm. And I asked him one time, because, I mean, they were sitting there. I mean, he would fry them eggs. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what on earth? They're getting like eggs to order here. Yeah. You know? And he would say.
How did they like them? Scrambled, over easy?
They like them fried. They like them over easy. So, and he would just put it right on top of their other stuff, you know? I mean, but he would give them sausages and bacon, all this stuff. So anyway.
Those dogs are at the damn Waffle House, what it sounds like.
I know, right. Exactly. They had it made. And I asked him one time, I said, Grandpa, why do you feed those dogs like that? He goes, son, he's like, I just believe that one of these days the snakes out at the pond's going to get them anyway, so they might as well live it up while they're here, you know?
I mean, hey.
That was his reasoning.
You know, hey.
Feed them good because they're going to get eaten by other stuff on the food chain.
There's something to this because
probably stony snake.
I read this article once about the evolution of a human was drastically changed by the domestication of dogs.
I believe it.
And how far they have furthered our evolution and our ability to do things.
Right.
Even as simple as guard dogs at night or keeping people off of your property and things like that.
I mean, also
it's enhanced our intelligence because we've been able to get a full night's sleep.
Of course.
Because of dogs.
Yeah. And you have to like imagine like if that's one that kind of goes underneath the radar, the one that probably everyone talks about is like horses, for instance, too. Like the fact that like horses are a thing that we were able just to like domesticate, and then, you know.
When I first met Hottie Doctor, she has a Shar-Pei.
Really?
Minch. And
what's his name?
Minch. It's Jewish for a good man, but it's a female dog. Minch.
And she needed a Minch.
She needed a good man.
There you go.
And Minch is the sweetest dog if she knows you, but she is an impressive presence when she does not know you. So you've met her.
So you have two mean dogs.
Yes. And so, you know, and she says, look, you know, I'm going to let you know, right up front when you start coming around, Minch is not going to like you. She says, my daughter's boyfriend came around every night for dinner. And it was a year before he could even touch her.
Interesting.
And it was 3 days later, Minch was eating out of my hand and loving me.
Oh, man.
So what's the hospitality at your house? People come and they arrive and both of your dogs want to chew them up and eat them. And you have a gun barrel pointing down at their, like,
why? There's no gun pointed at anybody.
No wonder you come out to the driveway and meet me when we're...
That's not true.
I'm totally messing with you, dude. So I have to say this, that pets I think are great, but let me ask you a question and I really want you to think about this. Do pets have feelings? Do they? Do they have emotions like love and care and all that? What do you think?
I don't have to give it a
lot. That's hard.
Or do you think it's all trained behavior?
No,
enforced by food, treats, and that kind of stuff?
That's the thing. It's hard to. I believe that I believe dogs and pets and stuff like that are intelligent. Do I think they have emotions? I'm not sure. Like, do they feel shame?
I think they do. I think they do.
Well, and
so, when a dog messes up and it chews your couch and you walk in.
I have a prime example.
Okay.
I have a story. So my mom has a pack of terriers. It was her and
a pack.
I say a pack because she has like 5 of them.
That's a pack. Terriers.
Well, okay, so hold on.
That is a pack.
So exactly. So there's my mom, and then her roommate that lives with her has. So the roommate had two or three, I can't remember, of like her own. And again, some of them are rescues, some of them were adopted, that kind of stuff. So like they've been saved from
bad environments.
Bad environments, right.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom had bought like 1 or 2 after the divorce and everything, and after all the kids moved out. She kind of was like, she's a very loving, motherly figure anyways, so she got 1 dog, And then, of course, loved that dog so much. She was like, well, the dog's got to have a friend. And so she got a second dog and again, she just loves caring for her dogs. But again, now they live together. That whole pack just travels together. There's a whole little squad that runs around. There is 3 females and 2 males. And I think they're all
spayed and neutered.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think so. So, but the 2 males, one of them was in like a very abusive household, and like has some like quirks and tics that like he likes to kind of like run in a circle. It's like his thing. He's fine, but like every now and then when he gets nervous or antsy, he'll like run in a big circle, and that's just kind of his thing. He'll just like trot around, and you're like, Max, chill out. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Sorry, I'm getting a little antsy. But like the other dog, Leo, is my mom's first dog. And I think he's also the male. And so they both kind of fight for like this dominance thing sometimes. There's one time in particular that it was like a holiday. All the dogs around. And there was some people around. It wasn't too crazy. But one of the female dogs was a little antsy or tired or whatever, and like snipped at one of the male dogs, and then it was like a power dynamic of like, who's going to be in charge here, like who's going to settle this down, because one of the pack is antsy and frustrated, and it started to get kind of heavy. They never really fight like this. I think it was really just the environment. There's a lot of people over. It was a stressful time and stuff like that. But I'll never forget, like I know Leo, the first dog my mom has, and I know that dog very well, and that dog loves me very well. Out of the whole pack, that's the only one like that will just like, when I come in, we'll just like want to sit in my lap and just sit there and just will want to relax and chill out. I love that dog so much. And so whenever he was like biting and kind of like getting a little like almost about to attack other people like in the area, like I had just snapped at it, and like I picked up the dog like from its back. I just like picked it up from his chest and picked it up, and it's like it's snarling and all that kinds of crazy, which is so uncharacteristic for this dog. And it's like trying to kind of like harm me as well or whatever. But I set it down and look at it, and I shout at all the dogs, because like I said, they're all in this little area, and everyone's barking, everyone's mad and getting frustrated. And so I look at I shout, stop it. And I look at this dog, and I was like, everyone calm down. And I was like, you know better than this. And I'm treating it like it's a child almost. And I'm kind of getting aggressive at this dog, and I'm like making myself dominant in the situation. Everyone shuts up for a second, and then this dog looks at me for a second and is like, "Oh shit!" And then like he gets like real scared.
Did it literally say, "Oh shit"?
I mean, that's the thing, is like from his eyes.
He's like
from his
speaking to you.
Exactly. Yeah. He may as well have from like his expressions. He was like, "Oh, I messed up," and everyone's calming down now. Everyone's going back about their business, and I proceed to walk away, and then like Leo just like walks up next to me, and he kind of has his head down and his tail down a little bit, and he's like I said, he didn't actually say it, but the
like an I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
he came up next to me, and he was like, hey, like kind of nudging up on next to me, kind of like, we're still cool, right? It's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
So in that moment, it's like I felt this. I'm not sure if there is emotion, but in that moment, it felt like a very like apologetic, like,
yeah,
I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to hurt anybody, or, I'm sorry. Yeah. Do you still love me? And I was like, obviously, like, yeah, dude, everyone just needs to calm down.
I do think animals have feelings.
You do?
I do think they have emotions.
Yeah.
I don't think they recognize them like we do.
Sure.
Right.
Okay. I don't think they understand them like we do.
Yeah.
But I do think they have them. And I'm going to say this and go on record. I believe when we die and we go to the pearly gates, all of our animals are going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to have to vouch for us.
Yeah, I agree.
How you treated them.
Yeah.
So all these people that fight dogs and kick animals,
man.
They think they're good people. They're gonna be in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, I
when
agree.
They hit that pearly gate.
Repent about that if you've ever had a situation where you've hurt an animal. But I'll tell you, like I didn't think at one time in my life that they did. But I totally changed my mind. My mom's dog, oh my God. I did not love this dog as much as she loved it. His name was Boo, and she would call him Boo Diddley. I think after Bo Diddley. Mm-hmm. And so she called him Boo Diddley. And she loved this dog. It was a fox toy terrier. And so he's a little spotted dog, kind of looks like a cow, but on a cow print on a chihuahua.
Right.
And so, little terrier. And so, anyway, But we had this. I'll never forget. My gosh, she loved this dog. I mean, they were inseparable. She would take it with her. It would ride behind her neck. I mean, in the car. I mean, it was that her dog was glued to her.
Yeah.
And she would carry it around in her purse sometimes. I mean, she loved this dog. And so anyway, one day we went out to the ball field because it was Mother's Day, and we decided we were going to play some ball.
Yeah.
So we go out to the baseball field, and we're pitching and batting and all that sort of stuff. And my brother is the pitcher, and my sister is at bat, and my brother throws her the perfect pitch, and my sister swings the heck out of that bat, and the dog jumped for the ball at the same time.
Oh no.
So his head makes contact with the bat, and you hear this, and you're just sick because you know that she just bashed that dog's head. She knocked that dog more than halfway to the pitcher's mound. I mean, it went, and it was just in circles, like, spinning like somersaults out, and it just drops flat, and it is out. I mean, it is absolutely out. So you can, I mean, this whole like family great moment just turned into a total
we just killed the dog. Yeah.
Right. And my sister drops the bat, and she starts bawling, and then everybody's freaking out and rushing to the dog. And my mom's like, no, And so we get out there, and so my mom had a van, and we were eating out of and drinking out of the ice chest that was in that van.
Right.
My other sister goes and takes the dog and lays it on top of the ice in the ice chest because she's convinced it's dead.
Right.
So we start going towards the vet to get this dog looked at because I mean everything was done at that point. I mean, there was no coming back from something like that. No. So we're on our way to the vet. The dog wakes up.
Stop it.
Right before we get to the vet's office, it wakes up.
And it's fine.
And here's the deal. The vet checked it out, and yes, he said it hum, and everything was fine. They got some sleep, definitely concussion, all that sort of stuff. Okay. But that dog wouldn't ever ride again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember going to get stuff out of the refrigerator at night, and it would just sit there, and you know how a dog's eyes will follow you?
Right.
And it'll kind of wag its tail. Something. That dog would just sit there and kind of stare forward.
So sad.
It wouldn't like trace you across the room sometimes. And then other times I would catch it and it would kind of shake a little. Like, so I read up on it, and I think it was having like small seizures and stuff. So anyway, that dog wasn't ever quite right. I was kind of glad when it passed away finally because I thought, God, put that thing out of its misery. I feel like I'm walking into a pet cemetery every day, because it just wasn't right. And I think my mom knew that, but out of love for her, I just could not bear to advise her to like put the dog down.
We thought for a while that you weren't quite right. Did your sister hit you in the head with a bat too?
You're such an ass, man. What an ass. But yeah, so that was the most terrible anything that ever happened. I was so freaked out.
Before the dogs, I had a bunch of fish. And I remember we had, I forgot what type of fish it was, but I think we had like some smaller ones, and we had like a bigger size one. I was like, I want to say like less than 7 years old. So I vaguely remember all this happening. But we had, I think it was like 4 or 5 fish, I believe. I can't remember. But like I think it was, and again, I think there were like different species of fish or something like that. Needless to say, I remember waking up the next morning and I only had like 1 or 2 fish left, and I think the bigger ones ate all the smaller ones. I think,
gosh.
And so
it was a feeding frenzy.
Exactly. So I just remember that like everything was fine. Everyone was like vibing in the tank, and everything was all good. I think we did like all the right precautions we were supposed to, but I'll never forget. Like I said, I was also a child, so it may have been a couple of days after that, but I just remember. I remember like going up there and going, "Mom, where's all the rest of the fish?" And Mom's like, I don't know.
Meanwhile, the betas are all like, "Woo, those are some good fish sticks."
Oh man, what a great meal! I wonder what's next.
Wow.
Right.
I raised African cichlids for a while.
What is that?
It's the little fish.
Oh,
they can get 2 or 3 inches in length, but they're for a freshwater fish. They're very colorful.
Okay.
And that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can make some money doing that too.
Yeah,
if you're breeding them and stuff like that. But they're just gorgeous fish. You have the perfect light above them, and it's nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I tell you, the whole pet thing is amazing. I can't imagine life without them. I can't imagine. How
do they wiggle themselves into your heart?
Yeah.
They do. Because, you know, a good pet, and it can be anything, but, you know, like a good dog. How does a dog get in there?
Well, I think one of the things is they're usually happy to see you. Like, you know,
what's the old expression? If you want to know who loves you more, your wife or your dog, put them both in the trunk for 4 hours and open it up and see which one's happy to see you.
Wow.
Hey, that's a loaded question. That's a loaded question.
There comes the hate mail.
You're right.
Hey, we got to offend at least one person.
That's true. We are an equal opportunity offender here.
Right. Yeah. That's so funny.
Retrospect. That's hysterical. But I think that, you know, I think there's a lot to be said, though, for their loyalty and just, you know, they typically are happy to see you. And I'm sorry, it's not always about food or treats and stuff like that. I mean, my dog absolutely goes crazy.
Yeah.
Just I can leave for 5 seconds and walk back in the door, and my dog acts like I've been gone for 2 days.
Oh,
you know, like
well, there's an old saying that only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. Mm-hmm. A man is only loved in the condition that he provides something. Mm-hmm. But I think a dog is the only thing that loves unconditionally, no matter what.
Oh, right.
Because you can see a dog get beat and still somehow love its owner.
That's hard.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
But, you know, they just wiggle their...
I would challenge that with just one exception.
Okay.
Dog spelled backwards.
Oh, there you go. Right.
Okay.
God loves you unconditionally, bro.
Well, we're talking about pets in this show.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying something profound. Mm-hmm. Can you sit back and relax for a second? Jeez.
I'm trying to enlighten you. I'm sorry.
God.
I think it's also. I think it's a number of things. I think I've said this on the show before, and this is where I probably got the most people who hated me, was that I think we like to humanize. I think, or we project, I think, like a personality and emotions and stuff onto things, because that's just the inherently who we are as a species. And I think dogs, are a perfect. I think not only were they probably a perfect template back then, but years and years of breeding, I think, has made them an even better way to do that. Is I think as people, we want someone that's going to be excited to see us and love us unconditionally, and also have those human tendencies where it's like, let's just chill on the couch. Let's just hang out and be in this moment. And I think it's all those things that I think make it into how they find a way into our hearts. Is like, you know, I think I think it's a mixture of them. They probably feel something. They probably have some sort of emotion in some capacity. And then it's us also, like, you know, seeing a little bit of ourselves in them in some capacity.
Well, and in life, we become very complacent. And I don't think our pets actually become as complacent as we do.
Right.
Even friendships and relationships with your significant other. You know, I know when I back into the driveway and I hit the garage door, I can hear both of the dogs squealing because they know it's me.
Yeah.
I mean, just squealing, just all happy and jumping up and down, you know?
Yeah.
You know, that's only going to last a while, even with Hottie Doctor and I, as much as we love each other. You know, hopefully 20 years from now, it may start tapering off.
Yeah.
But the kids, you know, hey, you know, whatever.
Yeah, what's up?
You know, whatever, what's happening. So that, you know, that's what we want to see when we walk in. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
And that gets us, I think.
Yeah. I think, at least for me, that same dog that I had, Rascal, that I had for we got the dog when I was around 10 or before that. And I think I had the dog for 13, 14 years. So you can imagine I had that dog through some very, like, major emotional changes and growth changes in my own life. I kind of grew up with that dog in some very crazy times. So it's like, for me, I always loved, there was a moment for me where, like, I feel like I could tell the dog anything. Mm-hmm. I feel like I could just, even though he probably couldn't comprehend what I was saying or feel the same emotion that I was feeling, I was going through something, and just to be there and to, like, talk to a living being that I knew was just going to, like, chill with me and listen to me put up with me, I think was a big thing for me. Why I think I love my dog was like that dog was always there to just like, want to relax with you, sit in your lap, or was always there to protect me. And so for me, that was
See, this is what awesome. I love about the millennials. This is a generational show. Right. They've actually, back in our days, Tony, like the park was everybody's involved. These guys have figured out how to make the park dedicated towards pets, usually with the idea that they're going to use the pet in order to meet other millennials.
Oh, stop it.
So I think that that's really clever, pretty clever. But I will say I do appreciate being able to go to the park with my kids and not having them step in a bunch of crap.
Hey, nice.
So thank you for your generation and the progress that you've made. But I think you're right that there's some transfer. I tell you what I think is interesting. I think you can tell something about people from their pets and vice versa.
Right.
And I think another thing is that if you start looking like your pet, you may need to look up narcissism because that gets a little creepy. But anyway, here's the thing though. I really do. I think that you can tell a lot about a person. Like, I'm serious. Like, if my pet don't like you, I'm gonna think about you a little bit differently.
Oh, it's the same thing with the dog I was talking about. Yeah. It was sometimes where like I may have gotten a weird vibe from somebody, just a weird feeling about somebody. But the second my dog was like was either like aggressive or like a little turned off, I was like, it kind of confirms my feelings. It's like a little bit. Yeah. But losing that dog was hard for me because I was probably in my mid or early 20s probably. I was an adult, but like it was tragic because like I couldn't really afford a lot of like health care for the dog personally, and it was growing old, and it was just kind of that like failure to thrive sort of thing. He had like a flea problem. I couldn't really ever get rid of kind of in his older age. He never had it before. I think it was just like his immune system and stuff, and like that was hard for me because like to see this dog that loves so much is like slowly kind of degrading, and he like
but see, and that's something that irritates me to no end now is people know that.
Yeah.
And the veterinary bills have skyrocketed because they know you will spend whatever it takes.
So predatory.
Yes, that's a great word. It's
a predatory service.
That is thank you. That is a perfect way to put that. That is a predatory service because they're playing on your feelings. Yeah. They're playing on your emotion. They know you've made that animal part of your family.
Yeah.
And you will do anything you can to keep that animal there. That is thank you, X-Man. That is a great word for that.
Yeah. And like I said, because I couldn't really afford anything like that, they got to a point where like I had, it got really bad, and I took him, and it was going to be really astronomical, and I couldn't do it, and eventually, not too long after that, he passed away. But like the hardest part for me, which was like really emotional, was that I was taking care of him. I was like kind of grooming him a little bit, and he had passed away in my arms, and it was like really sad because like it kind of happened out of nowhere. And I remember my dad being there, my youngest brother was there, and like it just kind of happened out of nowhere. And like I had hope that it was like just like some sort of freak accident or something, but like I kind of came to grips with reality for a second there, and then all of a sudden became very real and then very sad. We had like a little memorial service, and we dug a pretty substantial hole in the backyard kind of and buried him, took a shower and cried about it, and was like, man, that's a chapter of my life closed, and it was different. So
I mean, I grew up on that story where the red fern grows.
Oh yeah, dude,
gosh, that's it still rips my heart out. I saw that not too long ago, and again, and that story rips my heart out. But I'll end by saying this. I think pets are amazing. I think they're incredible. I think they enhance our lives. I think that they can be the difference between someone wanting to live and not.
Well, why do you think they start bringing them into hospital situations?
Of course,
or hospital situations.
Right. I mean, they just bring so much joy and they add to my life. But I want to say this, and I know I kind of said it a couple of different ways tonight, but if you are mean to a pet, you're an asshole, and you probably need to get some counseling, because that's just, that you're talking about something that cannot defend itself, that's totally dependent upon you. And so I just want to encourage you, if you're mean to animals, you need to go get some help, because you are sick. You have a problem. But I want to say this, for those of you who,
and I'll be the first one to offend you to say it.
yeah, exactly. Right. So, but I want to say this, for those of you who adopt pets and who do great things and who support pet organizations like SPCA and that kind of, awesome. You rock as a human being, and I really think that that's extra special, wonderful jewels in your crown when you get into life after, because I really think that the way that we care for creation is very, very important, and it says a lot about who we are as people. And so I just want to thank all of those people who and give to your local SPCA. I mean, really, like, support them and share information about pets who are lost and that kind of thing, because there's nothing better that you can do than to help somebody and to help pets, because it says a lot about you. So
yeah, I agree with that.
We've talked a lot about leadership and things like that, and we're all men of faith, and we don't apologize for that one bit. But God did make us the master over the animals.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean you have to be a mean and cruel master.
Exactly.
No, that means you can be an awesome, loving, caring provider, knowing what those animals do for you and how much they, dogs and horses that we talked about, how much they've promoted and helped propel just the human, evolution.
You wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
If it wasn't
and have compassion just the way you do with people. I mean, the animals deserve compassion too, and they need it. So, but I agree. I think this is great though. I'm glad we've been talking about this. It's been real.
This was a fun conversation,
it was
because when we talk and we have these we realize how much more we each have in common.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Even with the millennial.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Even with me, whenever you think that is not a case,
I'm beginning to understand.
Right.
you.
Well, like I said before, don't get too hopeful, because I even get ostracized by many millennials alike. So
I swear I'm going to go buy him a puppy now.
I don't want a dog right now.
He's got the yard for it.
Exactly.
Right. I just think I don't.
He's
think
got the yard for a horse. What are you talking about? Like, I'm gonna go buy him one of those too.
I don't think I have I think an emotional commitment.
The TikTok videos with the little baby goats going clack clack clack, running down. That's what he needs.
I could see him out there in the backyard doing goat yoga or something, with his little latte.
Yes.
No, thank you.
With his man bun.
Oh, Jesus. Maybe you paint me to be this awful person that I don't want to be.
You're not awful.
No, I never said awful. I just said man bun.
Exactly.
So rude.
Anyways,
yes, I am.
I hope we offended at least one person out there.
I'm sure we did.
We're an equal opportunity offender, as we said before.
Well, I hope we offended all the animal abusers out there.
Yes, exactly.
And if we
a big F you to you.
If we have, kiss my fat ass.
Yeah, exactly. I second that.
Yeah. There's a new feature on Spotify. You can give us 5 stars. You can rate us there on the podcast page. If you don't see it, you go ahead and just update your app, and you should be able to see there. Spotify's been a little late on the game, but it would really help us out if you give us a 5-star review. If you also listen on another platform as well, you can give us a 5-star review there. That would mean a lot to us.
And share us.
Share us.
Even if you don't like us.
Yeah, share us out of spite.
Especially if you don't like us.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to offend more of you.
Yes. Right. Please.
We want to offend you and your people.
Right. You can type in Linktree/Retrospect Pod, and you can find all the different links to all of our.
And if you want to
stuff.
type all that in, just look for us on Facebook.
Yeah. Retrospect Pod is no, that's okay. No, that's okay. That is our.
You've trained him well.
Yes. Exactly. And I appreciate it.
And you said you couldn't train an old dog.
Oh man, I love it. Hey, you know what? I'm always proud that you want to shill our show.
That's right.
The more you want to, talk about us, that's great.
But he'd like it a lot more if you'd also shill his.
No. Anyways.
Oh, and that is, remember, a man and his dog.
A man and his
that
dog.
is on your
dog.
required.
Okay.
No, a boy and his dog.
Boy and his dog. Everybody's homework.
Got it. Everyone's homework. Got it.
You need to see this movie, and we want to hear about it when you see it.
Sure thing. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much for listening, and until next week, bye-bye.
See ya.
Peace.